Hey everybody, this is Brian Hatch, founder of Automate Big, and I want to jump into something that comes up quite often in automation. Those people that have been automating for a long time know that you must have a tagging structure, and those that are learning, if you're new to automation, if you're trying to be able to string a bunch of emails and software platforms together, be able to make this thing talk to that thing and do all these cool things, well, you're going to realize that you're going to need to have a tagging or a segmenting structure for your contact specifically. So if you're building a list in your business, if you have 10,000, if you have 100,000, if you have 1,000,000 contacts, you need to segment them out by many segmentations, right? You need to know who is who. So when I'm talking about tags, many people and many online marketing services now call them tags, but some call them, automations or segmentations. There's different ways they call them. Basically, you're trying to segment who's who within your database, okay? And I want to talk to you about a tagging structure. When I was working in a software company many years ago, I was learning about, wow, this system we build, like tagging is really important to know what's going on and where. And I was like trying to figure out what should I use, how should I do this so that I don't get lost, I don't lose sight of what tags do and where they go. And I found really quickly that if I didn't have some kind of a formula, a structure to my tags, they got really messy really quick. And so at the time, I went to one of the gurus in the company that was like known for being really smart with implementation, knowing how to teach people stuff. And a lot of people went to this person. And so I went to this person and said, hey, you know what, you've helped me. I really appreciate what you've helped me before. I'm really like struggling, like managing how to do these tags so I can teach that to some of the clients that I work with within the business. And I said, what is your tagging structure? And this person turned to me and said, hey, my tagging structure is I make one when I need one. And I walked away thinking, wow, so disappointing. I was expecting to have some structure to it. I'm not saying you have to go crazy. There's ways to make it simplified. There's ways to make it complex. I've seen very complex tagging structures. I've seen very simplified ones. And I find that if you don't incorporate a few of these into your tagging or segmenting structure, you're going to get lost. You're going to have trouble. And so I want to teach you the tag categories that I would recommend you use one by one so that you can tag people or segment people within your database given these parameters, okay? The very first category, now the cool thing is if the structure you're using or the system you're using doesn't allow you to have categories for your tags, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. You can append your tags, the name of your tag, just append it with some kind of a category or a word that makes you understand what kind of a tag it is, right? Because if you have just tags that just do all kinds of stuff, then you're going to get lost pretty quick. So there are some very monumental must-have tag categories. There's other ones that are a little bit more bigger business. You need a little bit more, stats. So note, as we go along, these will be applicable. If you use them, it will save you hundreds of hours every year in cleaning them up, figuring out what's going on and where they are, and it will save you a lot of headache and stress when you go to segment or send an email or a text message to people and you find out, oh crap, I just sent a promotion to the people that just bought that program 5 weeks ago for double the price, right? You just don't want to go into those kind of scenarios, and so I want to teach you how to make sure those segments don't cause you headache. Now, the very first category that I like to use is the About tag. The About tag category, as I call it, is just the high-level about things you want to know about your contact. Now, this can be, for example, on a website. And I've titled this after like everybody on a website has an About page, right? Your About page is kind of like the big, most important things that people need to know about you, right? And so that's what we want to talk about here is in the About category, it's your high-level, most important things to know about your customers or your clients or your prospects. Anything that's important. They showed up to an event. They came to a webinar. They bought this program. They did these things. Like it's really high-level, most important things. If it's like, you don't want to know if they did or didn't open an email, that's not high level. You want to know if they showed up, if they bought, if they did something important, or if they refunded, or if they're behind their payments. That's the kind of stuff you want to know in your About category, okay? So your About category is high level, and these tags can come and go, meaning someone should have one of these tags if they bought something and said, hey, they bought this thing, great. And then if they refunded it, well, then take off they bought it and just add a tag that says About refunded this product, right? So these About tags should give you a high-level view of who the person is now. You don't necessarily need to know that they bought something 8 years ago. Not really necessary. Although if it's there, I guess it can't hurt, but about category is high level, okay? The second one that you want to look at is your go tags. This is very important, and I think it's the one that's most overlooked in businesses, is a go category kicks off automation. How many times have you gone to send an email or a text message or do some kind of automation, push people down a path, and you found out later that you didn't know who was in it and you didn't know that that tag started it, or that, oh, I didn't know that that other person in my business set up that tag, and when I clicked on it, it sent 5 emails to these people. I didn't want those people to get an email. I just needed to know that they showed up to an event, whatever it is, right? So if you don't have a category that puts specific go tags in order, that says this kicks off automation, or in the go category, you can also have the things that stop automation. I know it sounds counterintuitive because it's a go, but I like short words for my categories. So a go tag tells me this starts something. Think of how monumental that is in your business. If you know that a tag starts some sequence of emails, then you'll be very careful about sending that tag onto your customers or your prospects' contact record, right? But if you also know that all the other tags are there for other reasons and don't kick off automation, you're going to be safe. Because if you say, oh, in another category, I need to set this tag, you won't have to worry about, oh, that kicks off automation. Make sense? Okay, very important. Now, the third tag category that you want to look at is what I call goal. These are the goals. These could be the very, very nitty-gritty, and I don't ever remove these tags. The go tag's removable, about tags totally removable, but this category of goal, I don't ever remove these tags because it tells me literally step-by-step what happened to the person and allows me to analyze data later, get a lot of stats, and understand what's going on with my prospects very much faster than if you don't have this category. So this goals category says they clicked the email, they opened the email, they came to the event, they watched the webinar, they watched half of the webinar, whatever it is you want to know that are nitty-gritty details, and they always tell you the whole path of that person. Then if they ever come back and say, you know what, you never told me that I didn't all of a sudden get that. Well, you can say, no, right here when you open that email, here's the email you opened and it says no refunds. Whatever it is, right? You can actually track back and see what happened to that person. A lot easier because it's a goal. It's your milestones. It's the things that matter to you. And these can be very nitty gritty or they can be your big milestones, but not quite as important as the about tags. And that's more of your big category. They did something special, but the goal is just, hey, they made these things happen. They didn't do this, they did that, they went to that thing, they came through that sequence and they never bought, whatever it is, okay? So that's your goal. I never remove these tags. They stay with somebody forever. Now, the fourth tag category is one that some people don't use, and I find it's more useful for those that are high level in business. They have a lot of things going on. They may have 1 million contacts, several hundreds of thousands of contacts, and they're trying to work through them in a very, very specific way. This spot tag tells you where people are in your campaigns. Let's say I have 3 marketing campaigns, one for product A, one for product B, and one for product C, right? And let's just say it's a looping thing, like once you go through A, then I'm going to kick you through B, and I'm going to kick you through C, right? No big deal, right? But then what happens when you create a brand new product, product D, and you want everybody to know about it, right? And then you think, this is what always happens. So a business owner will say, I want to send this email out to everybody. And then I'll ask that business owner, everybody? Are you sure you want it to go to everybody? What about people that are in program C? That's your highest ticket offer. It's your most valuable offer. When people go through that, you make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. Are you sure you want to pull people out of that sequence to tell them about this new one that's like $49? Oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so then you say spot tag. These people are in this campaign right now. Okay, these tags are also removed when they're done. So if they're going through product C, the campaign, when they're done, that gets removed. Then what you can do is effectively say, I want to promote a whole list, anybody that's not getting promoted product C, right? So you just look for the spot tag and say, hey, anybody that's in that spot in my campaign, don't send anything to them. Send an email to everybody else in my entire database. That's the best way to be able to manage what's going on in each of your categories and help your contacts succeed. The next category you need to be able to use in your tagging structure is one that I like to call integrate. My 5th category is integrate. And so what I like to do is when I'm integrating one system with another, which happens quite often, if I'm using a Zapier or I'm touching 2 softwares together, then I like to use a tag for that to note if there's anything that goes wrong with my campaign, I know that the integration is that one, right? Sometimes people, you got to realize that when you're building out an automation, someone might have to look at this 5, 6 months, a year down the road, and they're going to find out like okay, I see that that is going and doing that, but what is the go-between, right? Like what it starts in this system and it ends in that system, but what's the go-between? Oh, it's Zapier. Integrate tags allow me to do that, so I know where the integrations come through. If it came through a custom API, if it came through any of the automation softwares out there that are like the go-betweens, which are nice, then I want to tag that in a way that it helps me know where the fail is. Because there's sometimes that just integrations don't work, and I want to be able to quickly say, oh, it's there. It's in that system. It's just a really quick one. This one isn't used by all businesses, but I'm telling you, every business can use this one because it tells you whether or not you integrated some other software into that process. It'll save you so much time when you're doing audits later of like, where did that actually live? Oh, it lives in that Zap over there in Zapier. Good. Then I can find it very easily, right? And it helps me find the breakdowns of my campaigns as well. That's the 5th category of tags that you need to be able to use to make sure that you're doing this right. Now, the 6th category comes up quite often for every business. There are things you cannot automate, like sealing a package and shipping it in the mail. Like someone's got to do that. Like unless you have a really cool robot like Amazon, you actually have to make that happen. And so there are certain do things that you have to do. So that's the category do, that you will then add to someone's agenda for the day. Hey, send these pieces of mail out. Hey, call this person. If there's manual things that need to be done, that's your do category. Really, really important. Now, the 7th category that I find that everybody needs and everybody uses regardless if I tell you to or not is the admin category. I use this as my 7th category as admin. And what it is though, it should be very, very organized. Let me tell you how to do that so you don't get lost in the shuffle here. Everybody has a junk drawer for their tags. So like, hey, my boss told me that I needed to make this stat, and so I made the stat really quickly, and then boom, here you go. But that admin tag no longer is needed after a week or two because you just pulled a special tag that said, hey, give me people that have these 4 tags but don't have these 2 tags and went to that event. Here's the tag, right? And that admin tag isn't needed for the things in the future, okay? If it cannot fit in any other category that I've just mentioned, then put it in your admin category, but it also needs you need to know that it's a temporary category. Nothing in the admin category should stay there long term because I'm telling you, every other tag will fit into the previous categories that I've talked to you about very, very easily. Now, but this one, the way that you can make sure you keep them clean is then you put an expiration date on this. So you say admin tag, and then you put in like, needed a XYZ thing event, tell us why you needed it or whatever, or just it's XYZ tag, maybe you don't really care because after today you won't need it, then put the day you're willing to delete the tag. And there needs to be a date on that, like next week, next month. Then when you go to clean your tags, which I know is not every week like it should be, then you go in and say, when can I delete these? Oh, these are all in the past, delete all those tags and you're done. No stress, no sweat, you don't have to worry about them. So admin tags, very important. Now, the last category that is a bonus category that usually, depending on the size of your business, you don't necessarily need because other tags will get you the reports you need. But this category is a bonus, is called stats. If you need some special stats that say, pull this thing up, they came to this thing, they spent this much money with us, and these are our best people, boom. And these are the special tags that denote your best client and customer because they have this special mix of tags. Well, then this is your stats tag. Gets you special stats, gets you special numbers that you need to be able to report on quickly to the business owner, if you are the automator, or if you want to have these at your hands because you are the business owner, then make sure you use the stats category. Again, usually the first 7 categories are sufficient for most businesses, but I'll tell you, if you use this structure and put it into place very quickly and easily, you will save yourself a lot of stress in your tags. And this is just one small way that makes a big difference and helps you to automate big.